Hey guys, so Amy is in Alaska and Julie and Leigh are dealing with the studio. Stay tuned for more Sorry for Your Loss.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Is this our song?
I know, I love the new, like our new jingle theme song, whatever you want to call it. It's
so
so
happy
awesome.
compared to this show.
I know, it's very opposite.
Yes.
Of what the show's about. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us back here at Sorry for Your Loss After Show. I'm your girl, Chae Jones, and to my left, I have two of the most amazing people with me. First, I have Mr. De'AnJilo. You might recognize him from season 1 After Show covering Sorry for Your Loss. De'AnJilo.
What's up?
And then the lovely lady, she's amazing. She is crazy about the show, Miss Haliey.
Hey guys, what's up?
And okay, guys, so before we delve into this episode, Mr. Greer, that is not his name. His name is Mr. Greer. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna give you some predictions. We're gonna do our special segment, and Haliey has some news, but that's for later. So first, we're gonna jump into this episode. The girls are learning how to run the studio now. Their mom has decided to discover herself by going to the coldest place in the U.S.
She might be in the water, maybe. I don't know.
The coldest place in the U.S. It's just super cold.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's because she hasn't been there before. She's been a lot of places, and I think in her trying to rediscover who she is without being the mom, and kind of letting her kids actually be two grown-ups, that is the place she's gonna do it.
Well, it's crazy too because she left, right? Because she didn't feel like she had importance, and like you saw like the role she did play because they didn't know how to do basic things at the store, which was interesting.
Yeah. No one knows how to do the display case or what's the limit for the class.
Well, actually, just that one girl with the employee, the one that was
Lacey.
like, super rude to Jules
Lacey,
all the time.
Lacey's a bitch. Okay? I don't
so
know
we
her
know how
story,
Haliey feels.
I teed you up for that one.
but she's not an okay. Why is she there if she's just gonna be nasty?
She's an instructor, and I mean, I think because of the promo we learned why she was the way she was to Julie in the next episode. But for this episode, I think. Is it a resentment factor of how she feels that maybe, Julie's entitled? Because she doesn't know Julie's story. Yeah. And when you don't know somebody else's story, you're acting a certain way because you have a preconceived notion.
Exactly.
It's all about assumptions.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I didn't like her at all until I saw the end promo. I was like, oh, I could see how she perceived that.
I didn't see the end promo. So.
Yeah, well, and they gave it to us, so it's kind of hard. Like it was in the episode, so. Yeah. But before that, when it came to Lacey, I was like, what is her significance? Like, what is she here for?
How did she
like,
get hired?
Right, like she just came out of nowhere, but.
I know she's very, but I also think even the way she pushes, I also feel like Julie. I think because Julie has felt like she's made so much improvement in her life, she doesn't have the right to maybe like throw it back at somebody unless it's family. Because sometimes I feel like somebody just needs to tell Lacey, calm down, ma'am. Right. Like I understand we're 5 minutes late, but you understand we're still here. You can just walk into the class and say, hey, after this combo, I do have a class. We're starting late. Can you just, finish it up? Not just bombard in my class and throw everybody out as your dancers walk in.
And it was 5 minutes. What workout class starts on time? And it's in LA. There's a good 15-minute window to where you can show up late for a workout class in LA.
It actually depends on the certain class and where you go because depending, especially like Millennium, we start on time or at least 5 minutes later.
Shout out Millennium
because like you start at least either on time or 5 minutes late. And then you go straight into because Millennium is a business and they love dancing. And like in dancing, if you're not on time, you ain't getting a job.
Well, I think to the point of why Jules doesn't say anything back, she it kind of plays into her insecurity though, right? She's kept talking about how like she doesn't feel like anyone believes in her because of her past, like overcoming addiction. So I think part of the reason why she doesn't ever like speak up to Lacey or she kind of shuts down is because that's also how she feels her family members view her and speak to her.
Yeah, but I think what I would like for Julie to work on is you want people to believe in you, but sweetie, it starts here.
For sure.
At the end of the day, like you start here in yourself and then it projects. Yeah. Instead of you projecting what you perceive as everybody else's feelings, like we learned Leigh saying to Julie, I'm not trying to disavow what you feel, right? But that is not how I feel towards you. Right. Especially when it comes to my husband's death.
I think also though, but like that's part of the process, right? Like if you go to something, generally speaking, if you go to like an addiction or something like that, it's part of it's because you may or may not know who you are, and like you're kind of masking that.
Yeah.
To like, so I think like now that she stepped away from her addiction, maybe part of her process is finding out what her identity is, and so like she is probably super sensitive in this season, which I think that's what they did intentionally, and I think it's realistic because you don't automatically like have this strong identity when you come out of something.
Especially when you're dealing with addiction, especially alcoholic addiction, because your family gets to drink and like they get to like have all the drinks in the house, but not take it into consideration how they might make you feel. I'm not saying you don't have to drink in your own house. I'm not saying that, but I would also like you also be sensitive to the fact that I am getting over it.
She doesn't get to have that outlet anymore.
Right.
Where people can just have a release, and she doesn't get that.
Yeah.
On to the high school. I don't actually know the name of the high school, so I'm just gonna call it the high school. Leigh has to go to the high school because the students, or Miss Campbell, what's her name?
I didn't
write it down either.
Her name either.
I'm gonna go with Campbell. I knew it started with C, so that's what I'm going for. So Miss Campbell put it together in a memorial of Matt. And first of all, can we talk about the scene real quick before we actually get into the high school part of the story, because it was a big chunk of this episode. I need to talk about Danny's mom walking into his place.
That was so funny.
That was life.
Yeah,
okay?
like what do you even say? It's pretty funny.
Just black mom wise, it was on point. She
legit took his keys.
Okay, but how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel like that's okay? Like she crossed the line?
Oh no, she had a right, because on one hand, yes, Danny, you lost your brother, but she lost her son,
right?
A person she gave birth to,
right?
So you not coming to Christmas means not only do I have not one son, I don't have either. And yes, I do have my sister and my family, but I gave birth to you, sir.
So do y'all feel like he's being selfish and it's unjustified?
I don't think it's unjustified.
It's
I
not
just think he's
unjustified,
being selfish.
but I just think he's I agree. I totally think he's being selfish, and no one's saying during grief you can't be selfish, but also I feel like in a way him being selfish is also trying to disvalue other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And that's not right, and that's not okay.
So that's interesting, because I feel like we see the parallels between him and like how Leigh is, or how she mostly was in season 1 and season 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
They kind of switched roles.
Yeah.
So that now he's kind of being selfish, but you see how his family, or like he's not surrounded by his family like how Leigh is, and he's supported differently, and it seems like it's made him more selfish and more closed off and do more extreme things, which is interesting.
I mean, it is interesting, but the fact that you didn't want to go to your brother's memorial at his high school. On one hand, yeah, cool, but just because you knew Matt in one way doesn't mean the kids didn't know him in the other, which is something we discover as the episode goes on, because we have the scene with Tyler where Matt just going in on, I would say, a 14, 15-year-old.
Why did he even show up if he was going to do that?
I mean, personally, that's some tough love you need to hear. I'm sorry, sir. But I'm actually also giving you a chance to get a better grade than what I would have gave you. So I understand you want to take your girlfriend to Disneyland. Cool. So how about, what day is maybe? Let's say it's not Friday. Let's say it was Thursday. Because I know apparently it was Friday in the scene. Let's say it was Thursday. Go to the library. Public library has a Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice book for your life, okay? Just get it. Read it tonight. Take your girlfriend to Disneyland on Saturday. Write the paper on Sunday. Highlight the book or something. And I'm just saying, like, you can make it work. And like, as a teacher, I also don't have to give you the chance to get a better grade and to improve your run-on sentences. You're not understanding the use of your and your, because
you feel some type of way about this. I'm hearing.
Okay, so I have issue with grammar for people. Like, if you don't understand the difference between your and you are,
yeah, it's a problem.
That's a problem.
I agree.
Like, that's like saying like, I like your dog, and and then like saying another word for it, I can't think of it right now, but instead of using you like YOU.
Or it's possessive.
Oh yeah, like possessive run-on sentences.
We don't have to have a grammar lesson right
Grammar
now.
lesson, and then also you read the BBC. You saw the BBC miniseries version with Colin Firth of Pride and Prejudice taking off a shirt.
Well, he's being a teenager though. Like, I mean, come on, let's like not fake like we didn't try to
Honestly,
finesse
though,
school.
I can't believe he didn't just lie about what he was doing on the weekend.
I know he was like, yeah,
That's true.
I probably would have made something up, but
I would have been like, oh, sorry, I have somewhere to be.
My grandmother's birthday is happening, and it's her 90th birth. Yeah, I mean, come up with a better. If you're gonna at least lie, at least come up with a better excuse. Cause obviously, you're telling the truth about taking your girlfriend out.
Respect your truth. I respect that. But
respect your truth.
The crazy thing is, like in that flashback, he, you know, obviously he probably felt some type of way about how Mr. Greer was acting, but like later on when he's sitting down with Danny and like they're smoking, like he talks about how he knew he cared. Which is like so interesting, like the parallel in perception probably of what happened. You had two different perspectives on the same exact thing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely showed that he cared because, like, from my watching that scene is like, dude, he actually is trying to give you a chance. That actually is a care movement right there.
But teenagers selfish; they're not seeing all that.
True, but it was in a way inappropriate. Can we talk about the inappropriateness of Danny sitting there smoking with teenagers?
That's an understatement. Yeah,
that was so. It was
but that's
so
just
inappropriate.
you got some drugs.
Like who?
You got some drugs? Are you a narc?
Yeah, like, that was a weird conversation.
That was. I mean, I liked in the sense that we learned something about Matt when he was a teenager too, and something that he did that was risky and teenagery.
Yeah,
that was cool, and that shows Danny's perspective of Matt.
So that I think that kind of, and maybe you're gonna get to this, but that's kind of what I took away from all of that. The school is that like I feel like Leigh and Danny are going at the school from the perspective of how their brother felt about it. In that like he always talked negatively about it. He hated it, but then they're honoring him. There's like a classroom full of kids who like loved him, and so he did impact them. So it's like I wonder how much of like his mental battles actually impacted how he viewed it, despite what was actually happening.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's interesting.
My favorite scene though was him going and playing that little Dungeons and Dragons game with
that was
Barnaby.
So cute.
That was cute.
That was such a
Talk
great
about that
moment.
name, Barnaby.
Okay, because that's also a conversation they were having about kids. Because Matt was wondering if he'd be a good dad, but I think that's something we all wonder in our 20s and our 30s. Are we going to be good parents based on what our own relationships were like?
As a parent too, you're probably like.
And nobody's prepared to be a parent. No, like no matter how many books you read, you will not be prepared for this human being that will come into your life. You just won't be.
Yeah.
But I love them talking about the different names because they're like, we live in a world with some names for children. We have an apple. We have Delilah, Tallulah,
Northwest.
Is Delilah
Northwest, Saint West,
De'AnJilo,
Sir and Rumi Carter. Nothing against the names. They're just, they're names of this millennial that we're like, era that we're living in.
Sure.
So to hear her come up with Pickle Greer.
It was cute.
You trying to get your child beat. Is like was my thought process during that scene. I thought it was such a cute scene for him to even come back and still in a way laugh and smile and want to connect with his wife in that way, because obviously he feels like I'm not ready, but I also feel like by not being ready that hurts my wife, and that's not what I want. For
sure. Yeah. How did y'all feel about when she saw Pickle on the painting?
Oh my god. I almost started to cry.
Yeah.
I really tried not to cry though. That got to me so much.
How did you guys feel for her speech when she really couldn't figure out what to say, but then she actually said to them, "I'm sorry for your loss"?
I loved it.
It's so ironic, which is wonderful. I love the irony of it.
Because people, I think when you're close to somebody, you don't realize that other people get to experience them too. So when you lose them, it's kind of just like a me mentality. And I like that she was mature enough to acknowledge that these kids did care for her husband.
I agree. But I also think it's an irony there because like that's the title of the show, right? I mean, that's the last thing you really want to hear. But people usually say that because they don't know what to say. And I feel like in that moment, she didn't really know what to say. And so it's kind of like this ironic, like full circle of like she's been so, like you said, so focused on her like process. She didn't even think about the other people that would be impacted, including her family. We see how she doesn't really think about that either. Yeah.
Because we were talking about that from episodes 1 through 3, but also I was mentioning to you before we came on how, like, Danny and Leigh perceive Matt in their own way, but not actually realizing or recognizing the fact that he might have been mad with you, but there are also more layers to a person than what you just see from your perspective.
100%.
And how he can affect other people. And that version of himself that he gave to the kids, that he gave to the school, doesn't make it any less real for them or to them.
Agreed.
He was Matt, the teacher.
And the whole mural was just beautiful. And obviously we come to the last scene of her breakdown in the bathroom. Like, so her trying to find paper towels. In my mind, I was just like, why didn't you just go for the tissue? It'd have been softer in the first place.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, in the bathroom.
Because they don't have them in bathrooms.
They have tissue. They have toilet paper. They have toilet paper.
They got toilet
paper.
Those
toilet paper, those are hard.
Hold on, what school you going to? They have toilet paper.
I'm 19. I've been in school more recently.
Oh wow, what you calling us?
It's not the same.
But there is toilet paper there though.
There is toilet paper in high school.
It feels the same.
What ply were you using?
How was you wiping your butt? Is my question.
It feels the same.
But it's because actually, when my dad died, it's something I kind of did like at his funeral too, in the sense that he was in a band and they played his song, and I just like as soon as I heard it, like I got up and I ran out the room, and then my friends following me, and I'm trying to open doors, and every dang on door is locked, and I just end up crumpling on the ground, and just a sense of like what is this, like what is this feeling, and then Drew is just like, I need the article now, but if that was an article she wrote, I would have read it.
That was fire, and I think she did write that. Like it's crazy, like. Especially as an artist, like when you're really in tune with your emotions or when you feel those emotions raw, I feel like the best art comes from it. And like she was so emotional, so she could tap into what she needed to tap into. Because I was like, damn, that article is fire. I hope she like released that.
No, in my mind, I'm like, is Drew still on the phone? Like, is she just reciting it to him?
Yeah.
But that actually,
I think she was doing the voice record thing.
Okay, so that was, I think that was, I was wondering about that. Is she on the voice recorder? Is she actually just saying this to Drew? But hearing what she said, it just made so much. I mean, women put on makeup, to go out in the day, and just like that's how we feel like we're beautiful. Like when we put the makeup on, we put the armor on, we put the mask on. That is the foundation. That is the powder. That is the eyeliner. That is the mascara. That is the eyeshadow. And but not because if we do that, nobody can actually see what's actually going on behind the eyes, behind what's going on inside.
Right.
And I think what you're saying is like ironic, but also just powerful because it's so true and it's facts. And neither if you're a woman or not, like somebody, you always wear armor when you go out in the day, because you never want, unless they're really close to you, you never really wanted somebody to see everything.
I love that we saw that moment.
I agree.
Because you can think you're fine and then you can see something and it can trigger you.
Yeah.
So easily.
Yeah. And that was a thesis statement. Like she ended. I think that was the last thing she said. She was like, I was naive to believe that like
thought this was over.
This was over. And like she saw probably the picture of her knowing that he wanted to have kids triggered her back, and now she has to process for her whole.
That's so relatable though.
Yeah, that's real.
It's real, and for her to say it's okay not to be okay. And I think especially the society we live in, the social media, the cyberbullying, like we try to be okay because sometimes people in the world want to troll us, want to make us feel like what we're living and how we're experiencing our life isn't the normal, quote unquote normal or correct way to do it.
Right.
And I think it's now because of like shows like this and shows like 13 Reasons Why to have the conversation and say, if you're not okay, that is totally fine. Let's talk about it.
Right. For sure. Well said.
Yeah. So guys, before we get out of here, Mr. De'Angelo is going to tell you about our special segment.
Yes. So in season 1, what we did, one of the segments that we had was we would just kind of like do something that kind of shed light on people who are going through grief or depression, all of the different themes we kind of see in this show. And so I think we learned another layer about depression today. So I found a little fact about that. So let's talk about it. So I found this article, Psychology Today, and they talked about 6 things you never say to a person with depression. And obviously Leigh had a lot of communication with her husband, who also suffered from depression. Let's see if she probably said or didn't say some of those things, and I'll just like name them off. The first one is don't think about it. The second one is think positive. I know I heard her say that. The third one is I know how you feel. The fourth one is count your blessings. It could be worse. And get over it. So if you guys know someone that's depressed or suffering from depression, don't say those things.
Can you tell somebody to get over it?
That sounds crazy.
No, that's some dysfunctional parent background.
That's so messed up.
But a lot of people just don't know what to say or what to do. And I think I'm just learning, because we all can be a little pessimistic sometimes, but like how depression, that's what this article talked about, how depression can make you see things at an extremely pessimistic way. And like he kind of talked about school in a pessimistic way. And so is it because of like him just being a regular teacher, or because he suffered from depression?
Or both.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into our news Miss Haliey's going to give you, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV. But to continue to do what we do here, we're going to need your help. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, because I think we're thumbs up worthy people and we're awesome.
Agreed.
But if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, give us 5 stars and leave a review. The 1 through 4 are depressed. They do not work. They just don't. Okay. I don't know how they got that way. But the 5 always works because we're a 5-star people. We just want to say thank you so much for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk. And now Miss Haliey is going to give you some news and gossip.
Yep.
Yes. So the star,
AfterBuzz TV
the intro.
The star Elizabeth Olsen talked about the messy glory of the uncurated life. In an interview, she says, let me find it, guys, I'm sorry.
Uncurated life, that sounds so interesting.
Yes.
What are you going to say? Ooh.
We wanted to tell the story that comes next, which is once you get your head above the water, once you know you can swim, what do? You have to move forward. So to continue the metaphor, this season really felt like the rebuilding of the spaceship. It's rebuilding your life. It's okay. I'm surviving. What am I going to do now? Which I think a lot of people have a hard time. Like, that's a question that everybody goes through.
Yeah, because being a survivor is great and all, but
like, what am I going to do now? Like, now that.
Yeah.
It's the after that I love that they're exploring on this season and in this show in itself. Mm-hmm. Because I don't, like you were saying during our first first episode coverage from episodes 1 through 3, that there's not been a show like this, and I will say in an adult manner. Like 13 Reasons Why is very teen oriented. Mm-hmm. This is very more adults.
That's real. Yeah.
So I think that's great. And now, guys, we're gonna get into predictions.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And now, Mr. De'Anjilo.
Of course, I'll go first.
We're going to start with you, sir.
For sure. What do I think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to act like I didn't see the promo for the next episode. No, I think we're going to learn more about Danny and Leigh's relationship going forward, because obviously they have like this big elephant in the room of him basically saying he has feelings for her from season 1. Mm-hmm. So I think he's been avoiding it, and he can't avoid it anymore. So we're going to learn more about that. That's a general prediction, but I think I'm right.
Haliey.
I agree with what you said. I think we're going to see that later down the road. I think he's going to spiral more, if that's possible. I think we're going to learn more about Lacey and why she is the way she is, because I'm not feeling her right now. I think I want Julie to get a girlfriend so bad. I said this last time. No.
It could be, though.
I know it could be.
No, I don't think that's outlandish.
There's no reason to throw her in so
Lacey doesn't
aggressively.
Unless it's like,
yeah.
But that might change next episode. We'll see. That's my prediction. They're gonna get closer.
Her face is like, girl,
she
no.
like, nah.
Yeah. So my prediction, even though I did see the promo, I am gonna say that Leigh's gonna spiral, and it's gonna be Danny that brings her out of it, obviously. But I do also agree with you. Even though he might be the one to bring her out, he still might go back in.
For sure.
And I really don't want to know what it looks like if he spirals even more.
Yeah,
like, where else can you go?
He jumped off the roof into a pool.
Got his stuff stolen from some random girl.
Yeah, Simone.
I want to see her come back.
Oh, she really wants to see her come back.
I liked her. She was really funny. She was refreshing.
I would pop her. Like, if I was Julie, like, this is for my friend. Bam. Okay, now go about your business. But I had to get that in as a friendship thing. Thank you guys so much for joining us here for the Sorry for Your Loss After Show. De'Anjilo, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram at De'Anjilo. Should I spell my name? Yeah, it's DEANJILO.
Hey guys, you can find me everywhere at Haliey Matthews.
And you guys can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram Wednesdays at 8 p.m. We're doing Stumptown, Kobe Smoters. It is lit. Bye, guys.
See you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.